Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we love having our City Current partners come on. In this case, we are joined by Harlan Schafir. He is the CEO and Chief Visionary Officer for Human Capital Concepts. How are you doing, Harlan?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having us today. We're honored.
Well, we definitely appreciate your partnership and all you do to help us power the good. You do a lot. We'll talk about the philanthropy, but let's dive into the business, because when you talk about the world of HR and benefits and making it easy, that's what you do. And so give us a little background on your end for the company, and then we'll dive into how easy you make it.
We've been doing this. We've owned two PEOs. We sold the first one, but we've been doing this for over 30 years. This one, we've been in business since 2007. And so we've got a great staff, and we've got a wonderful reputation of being known as the quality provider in our space in our region.
When you talk about what a PEO is, go ahead and dive in, because you're not only a PEO, you've got the certification and you go the extra mile. So give us a little background on PEO and what that means.
Well, PEO, first of all, for people who don't know, stands for Professional Employer Organization. And while there's like 5 pillars and I'll explain that in a second, that you deliver, what really is if you have a business and have employees, and most people do if they want to scale, when you bring in employees, you bring with it a lot of responsibilities that you might not be thinking you signed up for originally. So the way we do this and the way we explain it to people is, if you can, you manage them, you motivate them, it's what you want to do, it's what you want to keep. And then what we're going to do is all the rest of that. And the rest of that, is the things like benefit plan administration, HR, posters on the wall, handbooks, payroll, 401k compliance, all the stuff that you really, and bring a technology platform to the table that younger and most employees are just expecting nowadays. And so we provide that to you so that you can look a lot bigger than you probably would, like if you had 1,000 employees, and most companies don't, obviously.
On your end, you have full and flex HR opportunities. And so you can customize. And as you mentioned, you can really scale up and offer a lot of value. And so talk about what it means for full versus flex HR solutions.
Thank you for asking that question, because a lot of people are finding it confusing, and we might even change some of the words on our website to make the navigation even clearer. Full HR is the PEO. It's everything you need to make it work. But what we found is that we were getting the larger employees. Usually that's a couple, 300, even up to 1,000 or a couple thousand, who are saying, wait a minute, I don't need everything you do. I just need some of it. And so in the flex part, it's just exactly as the word says. You can pick what it is you want us to do for you and leave the stuff that you think you've got good coverage on. And then we'll step in and augment your delivery.
It's like the a la carte version. Pick what you want and we'll deliver on it.
Exactly.
We'll make it happen.
Right.
Share a little bit of, as I mentioned, you go much deeper in terms of the accreditation and the process and the rigor. And so talk a little bit more about when you go into the PEO side, taking that extra step, especially when it comes to the IRS and the compliance on your end.
Yes. So several years ago, there was a law that was passed that allowed PEOs to become what they called certified. And what that basically meant is that you had a lot more rigorous standards to adhere to. But if you did, it protected your client from several things. So we were in the first group in the United States, still only somewhere between 12 and 15% of the PEOs in the whole United States are even certified. We're one of them, and we were one of the first ones in the US. And what that means is there's certain things we had to do to apply. We have quarterly audits we have to do. We have annual audits we have to do. We have reporting that we have to do to keep in compliance, and certifications that we have to do. We have different insurances that we have to buy. So there's a cost of doing this. But the protection to our client is that if there's anything that happens between us and the client from a tax perspective, for example, using one example, if they pay us, the liability stops with them. Where if you're not certified, the IRS can look past the PEO toward the client and go, wait a minute, you still owe us this money, it didn't get paid. If the client pays us, their liability is stopped. And many companies now who understand it will only work with certified PEOs if they understand the ramifications of how significant that is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big advantage to your
Yeah,
point. So
yeah.
share a little bit of just, you have a chance on your end to work with entrepreneurs, nonprofits, obviously businesses of all sizes. What are some of the common issues? And obviously the pandemic has brought about many challenges and opportunities too, but what are
Mhm.
some of the common trends, the common challenges and opportunities that you've seen over the last couple of years during the pandemic?
A little broader than that question, I'll just say, we can't do what the owner went into business to do. Only they can do it. And when they're distracted from being in the zone, if you will, then they're not going to be able to execute the way they want to. So what we do is we take things off their plate that they don't really want to do it. They're probably not very good at it, but it allows them to stay in the zone. And we can't do that because we don't understand their business, and at that level, only they do. However, there's three things that have really bubbled to the top that command almost every conversation we're having nowadays in the business world. First one is, how do I attract and retain talent? That is number one. Used to be cash, sales, every client, every company, I don't care who you are, attracting and retaining talent, number one on the hit parade. And we help clients with that. There's several ways we do that. We don't have time to go into all the details. The second one is, this COVID has created a huge increase in remote workforce. And it is bringing to the table a lot of issues on how to manage it, how to keep your people connected, how your managers even work with a remote workforce. Maybe they were great in-house managing people when they were in the office, but then it went to remote and they went I don't have the same kind of I don't have the same kind of connection with my people, and they don't trust me as much, and I don't know what's going on here. And there's really some tricks. And the last one is just COVID itself. The laws that have been created just around COVID and the impact COVID has had on business, whether it went back to the loans, the PPP loans, and all those kinds of things. Those are all laws that weren't even around before. I mean, 4 years ago, nobody knew what COVID even was, and now we're seeing the impact it's having on trying to track and report different kinds of credits and offsets, and we help the clients with that.
Give us an example, a little teaser, if you will, when you talk about how you play a role in the talent attraction and the retention, and even on kind of the culture side. And obviously, I've got to think technology plays a big role, like you're talking about, and making it really easy when it comes to onboarding and benefits packages and things like that. So that's a huge piece for the talent attraction and obviously the retention. But give us a little teaser in your world of some of the things that you do to help companies on those sides.
Well, it could start as early as how, when you're in the hiring game, the world used to be very employer centric, right? Here, I'm going to post a job, you're going to fill out this stuff. And if you don't want my job, somebody else will, it'll be fine. Those days are gone. It's employee centric now. So you have to ask yourself, how am I approaching this? Am I approaching it from that perspective that I did historically? Or am I looking at it more like a marketing project? I'm trying to sell my company to these people. How do you do that? There's lots of different ways to do that. And this could get down to, how long does your application take? That's pretty simple. How do you brand your company? How fast do you respond to somebody? And then beyond that, the whole onboarding experience and how do people like it or not like it? And then you transition over to what's your culture look like? Do you realize that people are going to be talking to your employees because they can't find any, so they're desperate, they're going to come raid your people? How do you protect against that? How do you get a good feeling from your employees of what it is that'll keep them in the seat? Why do they love working for you? What frustrates them about working for you, and what you should do about it? I could go honestly, I could do this for an hour. I mean, there's so much stuff, but that's just a little teaser.
I think it's also good, though, when you talk about a competitive advantage, is that you have a chance to work in different industries and pull best practices and benchmarks. And you can see, this is working over here. This is how it needs to be streamlined over here. And so you are able to really offer some, competitive advantages to these companies that you're helping,
Right.
which I think is powerful. What puts a smile on your face when you look at some of these opportunities that you have? Give me one thing that really puts a smile on your face in terms of what it means to be able to help these companies and these clients.
There's probably two things. One is when we get a company where we clearly know that either We help them grow. We help them focus, and they've had some significant growth, or we've kept them out of trouble somewhere when they were going to do something. Those are huge. The biggest smile on my face, in all candor, is when one of our clients compliments us and says, "Your staff is amazing." And if I'm allowed to brag for a second, and that happens probably once every 2 weeks. Somebody will call us and go, I don't know where you find these people. I don't know what you do, but your people are amazing. Their responsiveness, their willingness to help, how thorough they are, is awesome. And in a day and age where that's always been a challenge, but it's even more of a challenge now with the amount of turnover things people are having. That makes me smile. So we celebrate that quite a bit with our company, and we every meeting we have, we post, here's what so and so, here's what this client said about this employee. Or internally, we do the same thing. Here's what one of our internal employees said about another internal employee. And I think that's a great lesson to take from this conversation, because if you're not doing that internally in your company, you have to do it. Who doesn't like recognition? I mean, you don't have to, maybe you don't want to stand on the stage and get an award because you're introverted, but having your name read out and said you did a great job, of course you want to hear that. You worked hard, and you're going to be energized to do it again.
And employees nowadays too, they want a higher purpose, which you allow them to go out and serve in the community. That's a big part of your culture as well, is service in the community and supporting nonprofits. Talk a little about just that side of things, and really encouraging your team to go out and serve and be involved, and even giving them the hours to do so.
Yeah. So we give them 16 hours that we pay for, where they can go out into the community and work and to whatever charity or area they want to give their time to. We also will match their contributions to their favorite charities up to $100. And in addition, we have a company-led or an employee-led donations committee, and they decide where we contribute our money, and we give them a budget, and we do that. So from every aspect, we're trying to give back. I mean, we as a company, in addition, if you're a nonprofit, we'll discount our rates to you, and we even do it for startups, because we like, we like business, and we want to help the economy grow, and that's our little way of doing that.
I think it's pretty cool that you let your employees guide when you talk about where the money is given to nonprofits, giving your employees ownership in that. That's big, because they feel like, once again, they're a part of something, and they're able to make a difference with their efforts. Give me one example of just, your employees serving, or you personally, with the company being able to serve and give back to a nonprofit. You can name the nonprofit specifically, but give me an example of just kind of what puts a smile on your face with the service aspect for what you're doing.
There's a lot of it going on. It's pretty fun to watch. And some of it our people will tell us about, and some of it they kind of keep it quiet, actually. And there's certain kind of shelters for various things. They'll contribute this. Food insecurity is monstrous, and we see a lot of that going on in both of the cities. We have 3 offices, and there's 3 different places where we can focus our energy. We see that as well. Annual events. Everybody gets in the giving mood around the holidays, for sure, and it's certainly rewarding to do things that many of Goodwill, Salvation Army, the churches will have families to do things with, and you'll embrace that as well. I'm trying to come up. Honestly, the next one I want to do is I'd love to do a Habitat for Humanity and have all of us go build a house. I mean, talk about a bonding experience. That'd be so cool. We haven't done it, but that's on my list.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
So for you as CEO, Chief Visionary Officer, talk about your vision for 2022. What are some of your goals, either for the company or for you personally? What are some of the goals?
Well, for the company, I think we want to continue to expand our offering so that we are an HR solutions company, so that no matter, within some relative range of size in that SMB market, we can say, look, what problems are you having? We can come to the table and help you with that solution, because at the end of the day, all of us are looking for people that we can work with, that we really respect and trust. And once we find that, those loyal relationships won't go away. You'll keep them forever, because you should keep them forever. So for us, it's continuing to get our message out, continuing to expand our offering so that people will say, well, I'm not ready for this, but I do need help with this. And that's our vision. I see the 2022 market is strong. 2021 was a huge year for us. And who knew? I mean, everybody kept thinking COVID was going to just squash everything, and it didn't do it. So 2021 was strong. We think we started out 2022 really strong. We think it's going to be a big year for us, where our pipeline looks good and our messaging looks good. And we're very excited about being part of the Tennessee market.
Well, when you talk about raising awareness, go ahead and talk about websites, social media, phone numbers. Where do we go to learn more about human capital concepts?
So you can, our website is probably the best way to find us, and that's www.hcchr.com. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn just by typing in our name, and LinkedIn's probably our biggest vehicle. We think it's the most business appropriate one. We have some presence on Facebook and Twitter, but our website and our LinkedIn presence are our biggest ones.
Well, definitely greatly appreciate Human Capital Concepts being a cityCURRENT partner, all you do to power the good and everything you do for the business community, the nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and you make it easy with the full and the flex HR solutions. So Harlan, thank you for all you do. You're an amazing team. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for the time, and thanks for allowing us to spotlight our company. We're excited. So and I will put a plug in for cityCURRENT. It is an incredible organization. So if anybody's hearing this and you're not part of cityCURRENT, you ought to look at it. It's awesome.